Hi, I'm Carlo Parga, and I'm from Montreal, Quebec. My grandmother and grandfather moved in from Italy, as did most of my friends, but I was half Mexican as well. I remember one time at recess, I was about 10 o'clock. Uh, I had a big red bouncy ball in my hands, and there's one kid that kind of came up to me and slammed that out of my hands. Pointed his finger in my face and said, like, "Hey, you can't touch the ball with your hands, you half Italian." And I was pretty insulted, so I said, "Hey, I tried your mother's pasta, and I'm surprised you're Italian at all." That's when he kind of just took me by the collar and put me against the fence, and it was just super terrified and embarrassing, quite frankly. So that night I went home crying to my father, just kind of blaming him for everything and yelling at him, just, saying meaningful things like it's your fault I'm different, it's your fault the other kids hate me. And that's when he came up to me, just put his rough construction hands on my shoulders, and he told me, "Hey, hombre, you're a man, embrace being different." So fast forward about 14 years since I was 10 years old. I've been using embrace being different by coming out to a few close friends at a time, my closest friends, and then finally knowing that, okay, before I come out to anybody else, I really want to have my foundation strong, and so that meant coming out to my whole family. Once they were very supportive, I had to deal with the fact that I was not out at work. So eventually I felt comfortable enough to come out to two of my colleagues. We were in the break room making ourselves a coffee, and we're talking about what we're doing this weekend. I told them that I was going to Quebec City with my boyfriend. It was nice because I felt comfortable with okay, this is cool. And another one of our colleagues comes in, and she asked what we're talking about, and I hadn't come out to her, so that did definitely put me on the spot. And I said, I'm going to Quebec City with my boyfriend, and she was super happy about it. She's like, "Oh, awesome!" So after that encounter, a couple of minutes later, she comes over to my desk, and then she's like, "Hey, do you have a second? Could you just come to my office?" Very bubbly and happy. She's senior to me, and I was nervous. I didn't know what was gonna happen, so I just walked to her office. It's very close, and she asked me to close the door behind her, and she kind of just sat me down, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, "I want you to know that there had been other gay men in this office, and if you tell people you're gay, no one will really bat an eye. It's fine. Really embrace being different." When she told me to embrace being different, it definitely reminded me of what my father told me to do my whole life, and I have been. In that week, we had our evaluations from our boss, and I kind of wanted to suggest to my boss that I was gay. And I mentioned one of my goals was to get better in French, so I was taking classes and whatnot. And I even told them hey, and it was in French. So I said, "Hey, yeah, I'm practicing my French with my boyfriend, who's francophone." But I said copain, So I was oh, he didn't really say anything. Did I say it right? I don't know. Weeks later, my boss pulls me into his office, asked me to close the door behind him, and he asked me if I want to start the first LGBT ERG, so employee resource group, in the Montreal office. So obviously I did get the word right. He knew I was gay, and so I was happy about that. And I had to really just take it back, go home, sleep on it, because it essentially meant I had to come out to 250 of my colleagues at the same time at our next quarterly meeting. So finally the day came where I had to do the quarterly meeting, in which I'll present the first LGBT plus ERG in Montreal. What made it tough was that the CEO of Canada was also there for my company. So I came out finally to 250 of my colleagues at the same time, and they were super supportive, all clapping and encouraging me to continue on with the speech when I was clearly choked up at some points. Throughout just doing some trainings and whatnot throughout the year, the CEO saw the work I've been doing and that speech I gave at the quarterly meeting. He asked me personally to start the LGBT plus ERG, not only for Montreal, but for all of Canada, which I said yes right away to. And now just looking back, to my father's words that embrace being different, I'm glad I was able to kind of just bring that through with me with my whole life, and it being repeated to me by a dear colleague of mine really just amplified what I could accomplish at work and, you know, assume a leadership role. I know that from experience, bringing your whole self to work is a lot easier than just hiding behind a mask. I just want others to really feel safe and have a sense of belonging. That 10-year-old kid wanted to just fit in. I guess I wanted to fit in my whole life, and right now I really just embrace the fact that, like, I'm gay and this is who I am.